Welcome back to Loveshack, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of our Rokket review deck video. A couple days ago we did the Rokket Revolt structure deck opening, took a look at everything, went through the cards, talked about it, and I said I was working on an actual deck profile, sort of like a first run, first impression build, obviously with more to come because I haven't had a chance to play around with the deck a ton, but I did put something together, played around with it at locals. I went X2, I did not top, I misplayed immensely. It's honestly, believe it or not, my first time sort of fucking around with the Guard Dragon engine, and I just made very poor plays that in retrospect could have been easily avoided. So I definitely like the deck's potential. I think it's really fun. I do think they'll need to get their Link 1 from Chaos Impact to really be effective, but this is kind of what I threw together. A couple things you won't see that I do want to just sort of address early on. I'm not playing Ib or World Chalice Guard Dragon at the moment. I'm thinking about possibly putting that in. Also, World Legacy Guard Dragon, the Revival spell, really good card. It's just kind of pricey, and I didn't have a chance to grab any before I really went and put this together. So we'll go through the deck, and I will touch on a few of those things as we go along. But so for the three ofs, Absoluto Dragon, we talked about this the other day. Basically, you control a Rokket, special summon it from your hand, and then when it's sent to the grave at all from anywhere, you can add a Rokket monster back to your hand. So it's definitely a necessary 3-of. It gets all of your plays started. It's not a Rokket monster. I wish it was, but it might be kind of too good if that was the case. But it's a Dark Dragon, and it is easily one of the best cards the deck has access to. But ultimately, the best card in the deck is Rokket Tracer. That's 3-of with the quick effect. Target one face-up card you control. Destroy it. If you do, special summon one Rokket monster from your deck. It also locks you out of the extra deck except for Dark Monsters, but that literally means nothing. So this can get you use Dragon Ravine, all sorts of other stuff. Not to mention it's a tuner. I mean, I only play one synchro on the deck, but still, if you ever wanted to play some kind of variant with that. That's it for the 3-ofs, actually. There's only 2. Onto the 2-ofs, I played 2 Silver Rokket. I like this card. It has the same, Rokket effect that they all do, except when he's targeted by a Link monster, you can destroy him and then look at your opponent's extra deck and banish a card. So this came up today. I was playing against some Orcus build, and I was able to get rid of their Dingirsu, and it wasn't pure Orcus. He was only playing one. Obviously, the ability to look at the extra deck, kind of know what you're up against, is definitely a neat advantage if you can kind of pull this off. Not to mention, it is 19, so when you can push for damage, it's useful. It's the only Rokket I play 2 of, like the only, I guess, general Rokket, if you want to call it that. But it's decent for now. I could see it going to 1, though, in terms of what I'm playing it at. And then the other Rokket that I play 2 of, I really like this card, and in testing it was really useful. So that's Rokket Synchron. This is, when it's normal summon, you can target a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon in your grave, special summon in defense position, negate its effects, you can only summon Dark Monsters. So basically the whole extra deck's Dark Monsters. That restriction doesn't really hurt you, but this being able to revive Absolute Dragon, as well as other things, and really just sort of give you 2 dragons on the board. If you don't use your normal summon, or if you have quick launch, you can combo with this super easy. So this is an awesome card in my opinion. I really like it. I was playing it at 1, and I did elect to bump it to 2, and I'm happy with it up to this point. For the 1-ofs, for the Rockets, I play 1 Exploder, 1 Auto, 1 Magna, 1 Metal, and that's it. So I play 4 of these guys. Obviously I have the silver, so there's 6 total. 1 of each. You really never want to draw them. I don't ever want to draw. Like, I mean, you want to quick launch them out. You have, outspell a trap, out a monster, pop a column. This burn damage came in handy. I was able to OTK in a game because of this, in main phase 2 being able to burn. So I actually like this card, but the main reason I played is because it's a level 7 that you can revive with Rokket Synchron. So there are, synchro plays, make Warlord, Savage Dragon, things you can do there. So, but that's it. 1-ofs. I see no reason to play multiples of any of them, honestly, because they're not inherently great to see. You want to either mill them or send them to grave in some capacity. And then I play 1 Rokket Recharger. Again, I'm a little on the fence about the card, but in theory, the fact that it's basically a monster-born hand trap from your hand that you can trigger with your own cards like Tracer, I did decide to keep it in. I was able to utilize it quite a bit today in testing, but I want to play with it a little bit more to see how I feel about it exactly. I can definitely say I wouldn't play more than 1. I mean, you can search it, so it is decent if you set up a strong board with, Furious Dragon or anything like that. That's it for the Rockets. I play 1 Defrag. A lot of the budget variants played this, and then it was just sort of like, whatever you're building. Damn it, there's a cat again. Hold on. This happens every time. Defrag Dragon. Basically, you special summon it by sending another monster from your hand to the grave. It also has a revival effect. I don't play a lot of 3-ups, so there's never really a scenario in which I'm able to use this. So that effect. But its special summon effect is good, and it does come in handy because it combos with some of your spells to really set up the grave. I also play 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal. I mean, this card's just insanely good in general, but especially within this deck, it combos really well. You can grab it from deck with the guard dragons too. 1 Destrudo, you know, dragon, tuner, level 7. Don't think I need to say much more. And then 1 of each, obviously because we only have 1 of each. These guys further your plays for the guard dragon combos and also just give you, you know, a little bit more flexibility in terms of putting extra damage on board. So that's it for the monsters. That is a lot of fine tuning. My first build of this I didn't even want to make a video for. I was like, this is terrible. So yeah, that ended up getting trimmed down quite a bit. For the spells, this card's insane. This is not once per turn. This is not a hard once per turn. You can literally play 3 of these in a turn, and I was able to OTK easily because of that. Basically, if you open 2 copies of this card in like Tracer, or really any Rokket monster you put on board, you should win. Particularly if you open Boar Regenerator, anything like that, any other combo cards. But this is probably the best, you know, one of the best cards that the Rockets have access to. I'm sorry, I had this all organized and then I got it messed up again. I got, speaking of Boar Regenerator, I got 2 Boar Regenerator. This is Premature Burial. Target a Rokket monster in your grave, special summon it, equip it with this card, just banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard because the equipped monster is destroyed, then you draw cards. So you can actually use this in combo with Tracer, Rokket Tracer, pop your own monster, special summon something else, and then draw 1 off this because it does trigger the destruction. So it's really good. Just in terms of being able to revive stuff. 2 Called by the Grave, just, you know, is what it is. Obviously, you can be hurt a lot by Ash, although you do have the ability to sort of come back from a lot of those plays too. 2 Dragon Shrine, I was going to play 3, I just ended up going 2 and a Foolish. Ultimately, I'm happy with this ratio. I wanted to keep it at exactly 40. Dragon Shrine's really good in this deck because it's essentially a Rhoda to get you any Rokket you want. Obviously, you mill Absoluta Dragon, and then you can search Tracer, Rokket Synchron, anything like that. So it is, I mean, that's great. Any mills in the deck are good. And even if you do play World Legacy Guard Dragon, which I like, you can, you know, then set up something to revive. So it's overall a really good card. 2 Twin Twister. Kind of goes without saying. You certainly do have cards that trigger off discard, cards you want engrave, and Spell and Trap still see a decent amount of play, so that's useful against stuff like Sky Striker, especially if you're going first to hit end phase stuff. Alright, so 2 Rapid Trigger, which, you know, I'm going to be the first to admit, I talked about this card in the opening, and I said this would be the best card in the deck. That's probably not entirely true. It's really good. It's really, really good. It's polymerization, but you destroy monsters you control, so it's fantastic. But the monster that's summoned can only attack monsters that were supposed to summon for the extra deck, so you can use this to make Borreload Furious Dragon, but it can't attack directly or anything, which is okay, but it's also getting immunity. So I'm playing this card. Now, this card was the MVP today. I used this card in almost every match I played. Dragon's Mirror, obviously, fusion summon a Dragon Fusion monster by banishing the materials from the field or grave. So I actually am thinking about bumping this up. As much as I like the fact that Rapid Trigger does sort of offer that extra protection, Dragon's Mirror just is, like, is a good card, and it sort of gives you what you need to push for that extra damage or push for extra board presence without having to worry about having monsters on the field. So 2 and 1 is what I'm going with right now. That could end up being either 2 and 2 or that ratio changing with just the 1 Rapid Trigger, but I kind of like at least that you have the ability to see it. And then a few one-ofs. Boral Supplier, this is a... During each standby phase, if you control a Boral Ling monster, target a Rokket in the grave, special summon it, but destroy it during the end phase. I didn't like this at first, and I still don't know that I love it, but the fact that you can use it during the opponent's standby phase as well means it does give you the ability to reuse cards like Silver Rokket, you know, depending on what links you have, Heretic Seal, and other stuff like that. There are some really good combo plays you can do with this and some of your other monsters. So I like it at 1. Obviously, at 1, you're not always going to see it either, but I think it's good for what it is. I play 1 Monster Reborn. Any extra revival you have is good. Squib Draw. I don't know how I feel about it. It's good, I guess. But like most of the time, I want to use my Rockets for other things. It does combo really well with Quick Launch, so you know, grab something from deck, pop something, go off, do your combos. I think one's okay. If your monster's going to be popped by something anyway, or you're going to get hit, you know, you can kind of use this and say, I'll net off it. One's fine. I wouldn't play any more than one, personally, but some people may. And then 2 field spells. So, 1 Boot Sector Launch, 1 Dragon Ravine. I was initially playing Terraforming, and then I was playing 2 of this, 1 of this. I made a lot of changes here. For 1, Romulus can search this, so I really don't want to dead draw Terraforming later. Ravines, I really just want to kind of use it early, get its effects resolved, search it off Romulus, sort of get my plays going. And Boot Sector, it just kind of functions as a soul charge. Like, I know it's a field spell, but realistically speaking, it's really good to resolve when you're in a bad spot, or when you can just kind of put extra pressure, but I don't ever want to see, like, multiples of this. So, 1 and 1 is what I ended up playing with. I just sort of look at Boot Sector as if I draw it, it's good. If I don't, then, you know, it's alright. But you thin the deck a lot, so it's not super hard. I don't play any traps. I did play Red Reboot today at locals, just because I was sort of tight on space. I mean, I'm sorry, didn't have pretty much everything on me that I wanted, and I'm still probably waiting to order a few more things because I don't know exactly what I'm at. And it did actually come in handy, but I wouldn't recommend playing that long term. So, alright, so the extra deck, couple things to note. Romulus is a must-play, in my opinion. I really like it. I don't have a Romulus here. The Romulus that I used today, I borrowed. I wasn't initially thinking about playing it. Someone suggested it, and I said, well, that's actually really good. So I did order them. As usual, I'll make sure the list is updated at the end. But Romulus is not in this final list, and then I'll kind of explain the rest of it when we get into it. So let's start with just kind of the general, you know, the Guard Dragons, 1 of each. These cards are kind of dumb. Sort of my first foray really playing around with them, but the combos that you can do with them are insane, and this deck is definitely one that can pull them off well. I don't play Staryusha, it's not a dark, so it contradicts directly with a lot of what you're trying to do. And so that's the Guard Dragon engine. I play 2 Borreload Furious Dragon, my favorite card in the deck. I love this card. I made it multiple times today, especially with Dragon's Mirror, but you can bring it out with the Guard Dragon engine too. I honestly think this card's awesome. I think it's a really good control card. I think it combos well with half your deck. You can pop stuff that trigger stuff. It's just, in my opinion, probably, I don't know that it's the best card. I wish it had an additional immunity of sorts, but even then, I mean, it's really good as it is. So 2 of that. I play 2 and 3 fusions. Obviously, you know, you have ways to ditch stuff, so it's not like the dead draws are going to cripple me all that much. 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss and 1 Borreload Savage Dragon. Yeah, I don't have it right now. It's expensive. I'll have one soon. Borreload Savage Dragon, level 8 Dark. I'll put it there. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Borreload Savage I actually can make relatively easily with Rokket Synchron or with the Tracer as well. This one's more so bringing it out with the Guard Dragon engine, but it's a really good card. And one of my misplays was not using this today to negate a Crackdown, and yeah, should probably read your cards before you play them. That's important. But that's it for the Synchros. Alright, so just kind of going through the rest of the extra deck. 2 Quad Boral Dragon right now. I think this is going to be 1 and 1 Romulus. I think that's what I'm going to cut. Discard a card, pop a monster. You're not supposed to summon Link 2 or lower from the extra deck. The only reason I've been playing it at 2 right now is because I don't know. It's pretty solid against stuff like Sky Striker or anything where there's a Link on board where you can really maximize off its effect, and it does point down and left, which is, again, so it synergizes with the Guard Dragons. But you're going to have to cut something, and so that's more than likely going to be what gets cut. I can't cut Booster. This card is really good because it's the best way to trigger your Rocket effects if you need to. With Silver Rocket or some of the other ones, this is the best card to do it. So basically, it just sucks that it needs 2 Rockets and that it's not just 2 Dragons, because if you could make this with Absolute Dragon, it'd be a lot easier to set up combos. Yeah, I know that boosters are common. I want to get an Ultra, but I haven't got that opportunity yet. 1 Dribble Burst. Again, on the fence, but it's a Dark Dragon. It does sort of stop those damage calc effects, and it does piercing, so it's got some use for now anyway, being a dragon. Let's see. Honestly, the other thing I've considered, hey, let's maybe cut this, is Zerobros. It's not a dragon, so ultimately the big problem comes in that it doesn't work when you have the Guard Dragons out, and then it's kind of, it's goofy. Like, it definitely has some play potential, but overall, it's just not a must-play card. And apparently, someone pointed out in the first part of this video that they actually changed the effect here. That in Japan, in the OCG, it was during the next standby phase it returned to the field. So that's interesting. One Borreload. I mean, obviously you kind of have to play him. He's good. I mean, he's I don't make him a ton, but he's good. He's always useful. One Borreload X Charge Dragon. This is the only XC I play. I actually kind of like it. I thought it was kind of dumb when someone recommended it, and I said I'll try it out. Basically, neither player can target it with monster effects, except its own. Once per turn, you can detach a material, target a face-up monster field that loses 600 attack and defense. Then special summon a Borrel monster from your graveyard, but banish it during the end phase. Also, you cannot special summon other monsters or attack directly for the rest of the turn. That's the key phrase there. So this is not critical, but honestly, I just like that it's a 3,000 monster you can make with the 2 level 4s that's just unaffected by monster effects. Well, at least not targeted by monster effects. So certain things it can pose a problem for. So it just gives me an extra option. And then the last thing I'm playing right now, anyway, is Darkness Metal, the Dragon of Dark Steel. This effect is not very good at all, but its link arrows are excellent. And so because there are ways to either pull this out with the guard dragons or to pull this out with, basically it's easy to make, and your whole deck is Dark Dragon, and for the time being, the fact that it opens up all these arrows and allows you to really maximize the guard dragon effects is what I think why we ended up going with this. I had a couple people I talked to said, hey, try this, like, see how it works. The link arrows are good, and I think that's the best reason to play it. But I mean, the effect I guess could come in handy every once in a while. I just don't know how frequently you use it, because you can't link summon for the rest of the turn after you do it. So this is a, you know, if you're going to use that link effect, this is a final play sort of move. Otherwise, you're really not doing that. I don't have Boral Sword yet. Once the Megatins come out and it's a little bit less cheap, I just didn't want to spend the money on it. I don't need it for anything else at the moment, so it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'll just wait. Boral Sword, obviously, you can play. It's a dragon. It's dark. It works with everything. So definitely another card that like you can go ahead and utilize, because it is good. It's definitely good. So I'd say Boral Sword, throw that in there if you are looking for some other stuff to play or wondering what else you should play. But otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much the deck. I talked a little bit more than I wanted to there, forgive me. But yeah, I had a blast playing it, no pun intended, and I think there's a lot more work to be done with it, a lot more playtesting to be done, but for the time being, for the initial experience with it, I'm happy. And I'll obviously update this deck profile down the road once I get a chance to play around with it a bit more. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, I want to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos. And as always, let me know in the comments below what you think of the deck. Was it bad? Was it good? Did it suck? What other things do you want to see open? What other deck profiles would you like to see? I'm working on some other ones that are going to be coming down the pipeline shortly, so stay tuned for that. New 10E deck profile coming out soon, new Fortune Lady stuff coming out soon too, so yeah, we'll have that for you guys soon. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye.